I'm Karen Nelson, and you're listening to Becoming You Again, episode number 94. Welcome to Becoming You Again, the podcast to help with your mental and emotional well-being during and after divorce. This is where you learn to overcome the trauma of your divorce by reconnecting with yourself, creating lasting emotional resilience, and living a truly independent life so your life will be even better than when you were married. I'm your host, Karen Nelson. Welcome back to the podcast, my friends. I am so glad that you're here today. I'm just going to jump right into today's podcast. And the reason is because of the topic, when everything feels hard. I'm going to just be very transparent with you, my amazing, beautiful listeners out there. And everything in my life right now feels very hard, which is kind of a funny thing for me to even say, because actually nothing, when I really slow things down and look at it with my logical prefrontal cortex, nothing really is going wrong. Nothing really is terrible. I am not going through any kind of life crisis or death in the family, or, my divorce was 6 years ago. I've definitely healed so much from that. And so I don't have any giant traumatic event that I am dealing with right now. And yet over the last few weeks, I have been noticing myself really struggle to be motivated, really struggle to get things done in my day, really struggle to trust myself. Everything feels hard. And whether you are going through the big T trauma events in your life, like a divorce, maybe a death, maybe you are working through a bunch of grief, or, whatever you're dealing with, or maybe your life is a little more like mine right now, where there's nothing that you can really pinpoint as being a big T trauma. Maybe it's just a bunch of little T traumas that have built up over time. Maybe it's just a bunch of things that you're not even sure, you can't really put your finger on, is creating distress within you, like me in this moment. I just wanted to give you a little insight into how I am dealing with myself as I go through these weeks of where everything feels very hard. And my hope is that you can take some of what I do, what I use, and try it on for yourself and see what works, and see if anything helps to create a sense of peace, helps you to love yourself and find the compassion for yourself as you move through this stage that you might be going through. I'm not going to say that everything that I do will work for you, because I don't know that that's true. And I even have days where one thing that I do worked yesterday and I try it again the next day and I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling that today. So just know that it's a process, and it's okay if everything that I'm teaching you doesn't work, and it's okay if only one thing does and something doesn't. We are all different human beings. We have different bodies. We have different connections with ourselves. We are complicated and we are nuanced, and what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me, and it's all okay. We are going through this experiment called life, and sometimes trying things on and figuring out what works for us is how we have to deal with it. So the first thing that I want you to know that I do, and that I have been doing, is just reassuring myself that it's okay that things feel hard right now. I don't need to judge myself and tell myself that I'm doing something wrong, or tell myself I should be trying harder, or tell myself that because no huge traumatic event has happened that I shouldn't be feeling this way. I'm not doing any of that. I am loving myself to the best of my ability. Some days I'm better at it than others. And I am really doing my best to tap into and ask myself in moments, what is it that I need? What is it that is going to serve me best in these moments? when I am feeling like everything is hard and heavy and difficult. So I want you to do that for yourself right now. First of all, it's okay that you're feeling like things are challenging if you're feeling that way. It's okay for you to feel unmotivated. It's okay for you to feel numb at times even. It's okay for you to be struggling in whatever way you might be struggling, and it doesn't mean that you're bad, that you're wrong, that you've done something wrong, that you're living your life terribly, that you are unmotivated and you'll never accomplish anything else. It doesn't mean any of that. Drop that story that you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're doing it wrong, because none of that's true. And just give yourself an internal hug, whatever that looks like for you, and ask yourself, what do you need right now? Do you need to cry? I've been doing a lot of that lately. I've definitely been allowing my emotions to pour through me, through my tears. Sometimes that's what we need. Do you need to scream and have a rage fit? Do you need to yell into a pillow? Do you need to put yourself in a timeout? And by that, I mean take a break from kids, from work, even from life for a minute and just check out. Whether it's you lock yourself in the bathroom for 30 minutes by yourself or in your bedroom, if that's good enough. You go to bed half an hour early. You go for a walk on your own. You create a playlist for the mood that you're feeling right now and listen to it as you drive around in your car just to get out of the house. I saw a reel the other day that popped into my feed on Instagram and I loved it so much. And I can't remember who made this reel. I don't remember her name. I'm pretty sure it's not someone that I follow. It just, how reels, they just kind of pop in to see if it's something that you might like. But I do remember it was a woman who had young kids. And she said there are some days where things just feel hard and I can't show up as the mom that I want to in those moments. And that is when I know I need to take a break. And so I put in my headphones and I strap my kids in the car and I go get myself a coffee and then I drive around listening to, I can't remember if she was listening to a podcast or music or whatever it was. But what she didn't do was pay attention to and give all of herself to her kids. What she did do was give herself the time out that she needed while still attending to her kids, making sure they were safe and taken care of. And yet she allowed herself those moments to take care of herself in the way that she needed in that moment. And I loved it so much. So if you are a mother who has young kids, maybe that is a way that you can take care of yourself when things feel hard. These are just some ideas that I'm offering to you. And there's probably hundreds more that you could come up with that will meet your needs of what you need right now. And only you can answer that. But you have to be willing to ask and then listen. And really try and tap into what it is that you need right now while you're feeling like things are very hard. How can you best support yourself in these moments? And again, like I said, some days I will do something for myself and it will feel like exactly what I needed in that moment. And the next day I will try that thing and it is not right. It is not what I need. And I will have to ask myself and really tap into and listen to, what do I need in this moment when things feel hard? How can I best support myself? So what does that look like for you? I gave you a few options. Try some of those out if any of them resonate with you, or ask yourself and maybe something else will come to you in that moment. Try it out and see how it works for you. All of you who listen to this podcast regularly know that I really love the book Burnout. I talk about it quite often on here because I have found so many things in that book to be so useful. And in the completing the stress cycle chapter, it's kind of at the beginning, there was one thing that really resonated with me in this book, and it is the part about hugging for 20 seconds. This is something that my daughter and I actually do with one another when we are around each other. She is going to university right now. So she lives about 30 minutes away from me, and we don't see each other as often as I would like. I would like to see her every single day like I used to. But we do see each other usually once every at least 2 weeks. But when we see each other, something that we like to do to help complete our stress cycle, to help give ourselves the support that we need, even though we are using another body to do the act, it is such a comfort. And what you do is you hug one another for 20 seconds at least. It can be longer, but at least 20 seconds. But not so, you're not hugging each other where one person is like leaning on the other person and taking all of the support, right? One person's the support and the other person is the leaner. You are both supporting yourself in your own stance, and then you hug. And you just allow the relaxation and the safety and the love and the support of each other to be present in that moment. And it is one of my favorite things. Now, of course, I do this with my boyfriend as well. And so if there is someone in your life who you can go to, if there's just someone that you can share a hug with, a friend, your sister, your mom, maybe even just a neighbor, or your boyfriend, your partner, whoever it is, if there is someone that you can have this shared experience with, it is such a beautiful way of allowing yourself to release some of the heaviness that you are feeling and to let go of what feels hard in that moment. So those are a few of the things that I open myself up to when things feel hard. Now, of course, you know that I love mindset work, and I teach so much about changing your thoughts and all of that. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I don't necessarily always talk about the actions that you should be taking in moments, but I also think that sometimes it's okay to let go of needing to change the thoughts, let go of needing to try and fix what's happening in your head, and just allowing yourself to act in a way that is supportive for you in moments. And maybe we just let go of the thoughts for a minute. Maybe we just let go of the need to change the thoughts that are happening and to just reconnect with our bodies and our emotions in that way, where we continue to let things be hard, or let our brain think that things are hard, in my case. And instead, I ask myself, what is it that I need in this moment? And then I do my best to provide that for myself. All right, my friends, thank you for listening. I love you. You can get through those moments when things are hard. I know that I will get through this as well. It's not going to last forever. It never does. But I hope that this gives you a little bit of guidance on some things that may be useful to you when things feel hard. I will be back next week. If you like what you're learning on the podcast and you're ready to create lasting change and results in your life, then you need to be working one-on-one with Karen as your divorce coach. This is where we take everything you're learning in the podcast and 10x it with implementation and weekly coaching, where you start to see change in yourself and your life immediately. To find out more about how to work exclusively with Karen, go to www.karennelsoncoaching.com. That's www.KarinNelsoncoaching.com. Thanks for listening. If this podcast agreed with you in any way, please take a minute to follow and give it a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. And for more details about how I can help you live an even better life than when you were married, make sure and check out the full show notes by clicking the link in the description.